The original Game Boy, Nintendo's first handheld console, not first handheld, that was the Game & Watch, turned 30 years old in North America today. Japan celebrated the birthday back in April. We don't have the original gray Game Boy for some reason.
No.
We just have this amazing looking black version.
It rules.
I don't know what the story, where this came from. This rules though. We could take this opportunity, 30 years old for the Game Boy, that could make us feel just really, really old. Instead, let's celebrate this amazing little handheld that lasted 14 years.
That's right, Damon. In 1989, Nintendo didn't really have any competitors. Sure, the Sega Genesis was released that year, but it didn't take off until Sonic the Hedgehog gave Nintendo a run for its money 2 years later. So Nintendo could have kept coasting on the incredible success of the NES, but it wasn't content to have captured the attention of kids at home. It wanted kids to keep playing Nintendo on the school bus, on the playground, in the backseat of their parents' car, and everywhere else that they couldn't take their NES.
And the plan worked. The Game Boy was an instant success, thanks in part to packing in one of the greatest games of all time, Tetris. That success was in spite of the fact that it was technically inferior to the other handhelds of the time, like the Sega Game Gear and Atari Lynx. It had that dull green screen and graphics could be very blurry if the action got too intense. But the system had a nice price, $90 at launch, had a long battery life, and the thing was built like a tank. Seriously, soldiers brought Game Boys back from the Gulf War that were burned and charred. Still worked.
Of course, several revisions were made throughout the 90s that would improve the Game Boy design. The Game Boy Pocket was released in 96 and was thinner, lighter, and used fewer batteries, and the Game Boy Color, released in 98, solved the main problem of the handheld, that puke green, vomit, blurry screen.
The Game Boy didn't just introduce the world of Tetris, it also gave us Pokemon. Pokemon Red and Blue is the best-selling game on the system after Tetris.
The Game Boy name lived on in its successor, the Game Boy Advance, and finally the Game Boy Micro in 2005, but when the Micro was discontinued in 2008, great system, that would unfortunately be the last time Nintendo would ever use the Game Boy name.
That's f***ed up. The Nintendo 2DS? That should've just been a Game Boy.
Yeah.
Get out of here with the
2DS XL.
Nonsense. I'd like to remind everyone that the Game Boy game Donkey Kong 94 is still a 10 out of 10 masterpiece, still one of my favorite games of all time.
That game rules, go play it.
Two right there. Do you see that? Picking it up?
Oh.
Speaking of favorite games of all time, the Game Boy also introduced the world to the first portable Zelda game, Link's Awakening, which is getting a remake this September. This feels like the perfect 30th anniversary opportunity time to launch a Game Boy classic, you know, kind of like the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, which I don't know much about business, but they were tremendously successful, but we're not getting that. So in the meantime, I will take Link's Awakening remake as a consolation prize.
Dig your Game Boy out of your attic, give it a whirl. I am certain your Game Boy will still work. For everything Nintendo, stay tuned to IGN. There's a black Game Boy with pink lettering. It's amazing.
Happy birthday, little friend.